Okay, so welcome to Kol Shir in partnership with Breslov.org. And this is a very, very action-packed parsha we have here, right? This is mamish an action-packed parsha, and it's so hard in an hour to figure out what to what to focus in on. Right? We have first of all, Avraham Avinu is sitting out there, and he's hoping, and he's in pain, but he's hoping Hashem sends out the sun so no one should come around. But he's sitting out there, please, I need people. It's just Avraham Avinu, right? That's Avraham Avinu. And then the Malachim came by, right? The three Malachim. And that's a fascinating story right there. That that we have. Rashi tells us those were mamash malachim, right? He says they were actual angels. They weren't people. They were angels. So how does it work out that they were angels, and what does that have to do with us? And what does that have to do with Klal Yisrael? So I saw something very nice from Rav Nassan. He explains to us really how we'll see this inside, how these malachim had to do with Kabbalos Hatorah. Fascinating idea. How would anyone think that here Avraham Avinu is sitting in a desert and he's waiting, on after his bris milah, and he's in pain. And malachim come, and that's pertaining to Kabbalos Hatorah. So let's see how that was, and you'll see it's fascinating, and I hope you'll enjoy it as much as I did. So here we go. So it says here, "Ve'ekcha pas lechem." Okay, we have to eat bread. Avraham Avinu was very, very insistent that they eat. Very, 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 very insistent that these guests of his, that they eat, and he made them beautiful. He took 3 animals, so they have 3 tongues, right? And they have to this was Avraham Avinu's delicatessen, right? He had the first delicatessen. He served tongue with mustard, right? Deli mustard, right? That was Avraham Avinu. That's what the Torah says, right? Chardal, mustard, unbelievable. But why was he so insistent that they eat? That's what we're going to focus on here for a second, okay? So he says like this: Kishaboa malachim. Everyone see the place? Kishaboa malachim eitzel Avraham nasan lahem le'echol. He gave them specifically to eat. Ki bezeh hera lahem shelo yikatrigu al Yisrael kisharoitzim lekabbalas haTorah afal pi shasidim lachtoi. So what happened here? See, Avraham Avinu was preparing for his eniklach to accept the Torah, and he knew that there's going to be opposition up on high in Shemayim when Moshe Rabbeinu goes up there to bring down the Torah. The malachim are going to say, why are you sending down the Torah? There'll be opposition, and they're going to say that we're going to sin. The malachim are going to say, well, the Jewish people are not going to always be perfect, and they're going to sin. So then, why should they have the Torah? Avraham Avinu was preparing for that. Watch how he did that. That's what it brings down in Medrash and Shemais Rabbah Chav Ches. If you want to look it up. L'Kabbalas haTorah. Moshe Rabbeinu went up on high to accept the Torah. Bikshu Malachei Hashareis Livgoya b'Moshe. They wanted to attack Moshe Rabbeinu. They wanted to attack him. Moshe Rabbeinu is up on high. The Malachim want to attack Moshe Rabbeinu. V'aloi zehu shachaltem etzloi. All right, look what he says to them. V'aloi zehu shachaltem etzloi. Weren't you the ones that ate with Avraham Avinu? Let me turn the page. Here it goes. Okay. Here we go. I don't know. I found this in the base medrash, this sefer. I don't have my sefer here, so I found this one. It has little lines in it and stuff. But okay, Me'achas shekvar nimal Avraham. After Avraham Avinu had his bris milah, she mitzvah rishoner shenitztava ba. So something is very interesting. Avraham Avinu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Avraham Avinu the mitzvah to do the bris milah, right? And Avraham Avinu does the bris milah. That's the first mitzvah of the Torah that anyone was given, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded Avraham Avinu, and that's one of the 613 commandments. So that came from when? At this time, when Avraham Avinu had the bris. When Avraham Avinu had the bris, and that's when it came. So that was the Snaitzitzus Kabbalos HaTorah. The sparks of Kabbalos HaTorah was starting at that time. V'gam bo levasroi she'iyah noiled Yitzchak shemimenu. And he also, the Malachim came to tell him that what? Yitzchak Avinu was going to be born. V'yetzu kol Yisrael she'iyah Kabbalos HaTorah. And from Yitzchak Avinu, all of Klal Yisrael, we are all children from Yitzchak Avinu, right? Through Yaakov Avinu and the Shiftei Ka and so on. But it started with Yitzchak Avinu, right? Yitzchak Avinu was the first person that was born the Kedusha, right? Yitzchak Avinu was born with a holy mother and a holy father, right? Sarah Imenu and Avraham Avinu. He was the first person that was born. Even Avraham Avinu was born. His father was Terach. He wasn't an upstanding citizen, right? He was an idol merchant, right? As we know, right? So here, but look at this. Now he says, Oz Valkain, Oz Hishtadol, Avraham Avinu lahatziles Yisrael. Avraham Avinu was already working on saving Klal Yisrael. Shalai yuchlu amalachim lekatreg aleim. Even though Avraham Avinu was telling them now, listen to me, you think it's easy to be in this world? You think it's easy to eat food? You think it's easy to be a human being? I'm going to show you. You're going to eat. You're going to eat in this world. You're going to eat. And you're going to see what it's like. And let's see how you do malachim. So don't you think you're going to complain on us, on the Jewish people, that we make mistakes? When you yourselves are going to be given to eat and you'll make mistakes as well. So how can you make a kitrik on Klal Yisrael? Fascinating idea. What do you think, Rabbi Yehuda?
Yeah.
Ava b'shehem k'may shehem. Balkei nosan lamalachim lechol k'dei sheyedu v'yavinu. So therefore the malachim should know and understand. Al yedei zeh kol ma she'adam tzarich lizbo ba'olam hazeh. They should have an appreciation for what we have to endure in this world. Shu mukhrach le'echol sheyesh loi beirurim keilu, that we have to eat, that we have to make clarifications. The body has it processes the food. And when we have to make our brachas and we have to do our things, it's not so Parshat. Keilu ad shebasayv tzarich levaroi b'saych haguf mipsoilis kazeh. That when you finish eating, right? So the body processes the food, and then you have to go to the restroom to relieve the waste. But it comes from the food. It came from the food. So V'al Kain ein lekatreg ala adam im nichshal chas v'shalom. So therefore, don't you go try to make opposition against people when they make a mistake, because they're dealing with the coarseness of the world. They're dealing with the coarseness of the world, and they're dealing with food, and they have to process it, and all of the situations that they have to do. But that we have to, we're in a place, we're in a world that's mamish like kia and soya. It's like excrement. It's like we're in a place of like excrement. Mamish mekaymis mitunafim kaila. That's where HaKadosh Baruch Hu put us. So what do you think, Malachim? You're up in Shemayim, and everything is so pure, and everything is so nice, and everything's so clear. Look where look where our HaKadosh Baruch Hu put us in. He put us into the trenches. Look at the trenches we're living in today. Look what's going on in the world, right? Right, with all the schmutz that's going on in the world today, like, well, maybe like in the time of Sodom and Amora, and maybe before the Babel, who knows? Who knows when we had schmutz like this before, right? But this is what Avraham Avinu is explaining to the Malachim. Hey, guys, don't you think you're going to go and make a kitrig on my grandchildren? Don't you think you're going to be able to make opposition on my grandchildren from accepting the Torah? Because you're going to say that they're not pure, that they make mistakes. You're going to experience a little bit of this world yourselves, Malachim. You're going to experience what we have to deal with in this world. Even those these malachim, when they ate with a high level of purity, of course. Rishon mistalik, and then the first one left, right? Because in other words, each one of these malachim, once they did their shlichus, they were able to leave. They left, but they didn't leave clean. These malachim, even though they were angels, and they ate with whatever level of kedusha they were able to, and sure, it was probably a higher level of kedusha than any person can eat with, because again, they were angels. But yet they still didn't leave Naki. Look what the Medrash says. The Medrash Rabbah says in Vayera, Parshat, in Mem Ches, Afa Pichein lo yotzu Naki oz. They didn't leave clean. Ki nichshelu bishlei muschem. Bishlei musam. They stumbled in their completeness, in their mission. They stumbled via the fact that they had to eat. Until they had to stay in this world. They had to stay here in order to make clarifications, make rectifications on what they did. Some of these malachim couldn't leave until the times of Yaakov Avinu. Even all the way further on, way later, in the times of Manayach, he was only able to leave. Unbelievable. What we're learning over here, that these malachim, Avraham Avinu said he sees the opportunity. Wow, I have malachim over here. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you an experience like you never experienced before. You're going to get an experience now. You understand what's going on? Unbelievable. Because from this world, it's not that easy to leave the world pure. It's not that easy to leave this world pure b'shleimus. Kamuva shamalach kishabola ze'olam eina yochel ales lemekoymai ad shetoivel atzmai kama tfilas b'nahar dinar. Even a malach that comes down into this world, and he goes back up, even if he didn't eat. Just he came into the world. The Rebbeinu Shalom sent the malach into the world. He has to be toivel. He has to dip himself many times in the Nahar Dinar, in this river up in Shemayim. Vika beira hatoiv me'azuma b'zay olam kolo b'bechinas achila. And where is the main topic of making this rectification, this beira from the impurity of this world, is when we eat. When we eat. In other words, this is so important. When we eat, we make our brachas, and we make the bracha, and we make that bracha, and we make it with as much clarity as we can. It's so important before we eat something to make the bracha and think how HaKadosh Baruch Hu was mazmin. He prepared this thing for me to eat. And we make that bracha, and we thank the Rebbeinu Shalom through the bracha. And then when we finish eating, we make another bracha. we make a bracha achroina. And the bracha achroina is so important. Why? Because if you made a mistake on the bracha rishona, you could make a rectification on the bracha achroina. Right? We have to remember this. It's unbelievable, right? The whole thing is with achila. Ki ika azuma in this achsa ayadei chet adam arishon, because the main zuma, the main impurity that it has a grip on us is through the chet of adam arishon. Shaya be'inyan achila. Why is it achila? Because what was the first mistake Adam Arishon and Chava made? They ate from the tree, right? They ate from the tree of good and bad, right? They ate from that tree, right? Al Kain Avraham Avinu Olav Shalom Kvar Kived Esam Malachim B'inyan Achila. Oh, so Avraham Avinu said, okay, guys, you're complaining. You're complaining Adam Arishon made a mistake and he ate from the Eitz Hadas Toivera. Yeah, you're complaining about that. I'm going to show you now what it's like to eat in this world. And we see that one of the Malachim couldn't leave until the time of Yaakov Avinu, which is many years. And the other one couldn't leave until many hundreds of years later in the times of Manoach. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Akein Avraham Avinu Olav Shalom Kibed Es HaMalachim In Yachila Bazeh Hera. That was able to show them and to hint to them. Goydel oitzem hayegiyas v'amerirush etzarech adam ha'olav b'hazeh lizbol b'zeh oilam. And this is the great toil and the bitterness that we have to endure in this world. That we have to endure in this world. Ha'adam ha'olav. Look at it. He wrote the word was shabby. Interesting word, right? Hazeh lizbol b'zeh oilam. In this world, Al Kain Ein Lahem Oy Pischon Pele Katre Gal Yisrael, and this is what Avraham Avinu instilled, and he set up for Klal Yisrael. Listen, we know Avraham Avinu was setting things up for Klal Yisrael, right? We know that last week we had the Bris Bein Absarim. Remember the Bris Bein Absarim, right? So we know at that time when HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Avraham Avinu, because Avraham Avinu said, "B'ma'eda, how do I know?" And then we know HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to him, you're going to have to go down to Mitzrayim for 400 years, and you're going to be strangers there, and you're going to be enslaved there, and you're going to be tortured there. But Avraham Avinu, don't worry, you're going to go out b'rechush gadol. Don't worry, you'll go out b'rechush gadol, right? Did Avraham Avinu say anything to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Did he say anything to Hashem? Nothing. He didn't say anything. He accepted that. His children are going to be slaves for 400 years to Egypt, the greatest place of impurity in the world at that time, and he says nothing. But now in this week's Parsha, when the Malach tells him that they're going to destroy Sodom. So what happens here? Avraham has a lot to say. He has a lot to say, right? How many psukim is it? Well, is there 50? Is there 40? Is there 30, 35? Is there 20? Is it 10? And is HaKadosh Baruch Hu can destroy the tzaddikim together with the Rishoyim? And HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that he showed Avraham Avinu that there were no tzaddikim in Sodom. But the greatest question is, why, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Avraham Avinu that your children are going to be slaves for 400 years to Egyptians, and they're going to torment them, they're going to torture them, they're going to torture your children, and he doesn't say anything. But when HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him that the Malach tells him that Hashem's plan is to destroy Sodom, he has a lot to say. And you know what the answer is? Avraham Avinu was looking for the future. Avraham Avinu's whole thing was the Torah. Avraham Avinu's whole mindset was how we're going to be able to accept the Torah. That's what he was working on. And he understood that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him that we're going to go out of Mitzrayim b'rechush gadol, it wasn't with money. Avraham Avinu didn't care about money. He didn't care that we're going to go out and we'll be wealthy people. Of course, every Jew should have what they need, of course. But that wasn't Avraham Avinu. He understood the Rechush Gadol. What's the greatest Rechush we have? That's the Torah Kedosha. And now we see, in this week's Parsha, when Avraham Avinu notices that there are Malachim there, and they are going to be the ones to have opposition against us, getting the Torah Kedosha from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Avraham Avinu is already preparing. Guys, you're going to sit and you're going to eat now. I'm going to give you a dose of what it's like to be in this world. You're going to understand what it's like to be in this world. When you understand that, then you won't have Ein Lahem Oy Pischon Peh. They won't have it. They won't have anything to say. They won't be able to open their mouths, the Katreg Al Yisrael, to make any kind of opposition against Klal Yisrael. Shalai Kabbalos a Torah, that we shouldn't get the Torah. Because if it's certain, it was incumbent that we're going to accept the Torah. Because you can't stand up in this world. Kima Yedei Torah shenikres achila de kedusha. How do you like that? The Torah is called achila de kedusha. Remember I told you that story from the Holy Kedushas Levi? There was a story where the Kedushas Levi was once traveling, and he wound up in some strange town over Yom Kippur. He wound up in some strange place over Yom Kippur. And, he asked them if he could be the Baal Tefillah. And they said, sure, they didn't really have any fine Baal Tefillah there, So they said, Rabbi, if you want to be the Baal Tefillah, you want to lead us in the services, of course, Rabbi. He davened for them. Wow, you can only imagine a fiery davening from the Holy Kedushas Levi. And the Kedushas Levi went through all the tefillahs of Yom Kippur. He davened them with the greatest love and the greatest fervor. And when they finished Yom Kippur, right? And they blew the shofar. So everyone invited the Kedushas Levi to go back home to break the fast with them. And what the Kedushas Levi said, can I please, is there a Masechta Sukkah? I need a Masechta Sukkah. I need a Masechta Sukkah, he said. And he sat down after Yom Kippur. The whole thing of Yom Kippur, after Yom Kippur, the first thing is to be Isaac in the Sukkah, right? To build your Sukkah, that's what you're supposed to do. So the Kedushas Levi said, I'm going to learn Masechta Sukkah. I'll learn through the whole Masechta. It's not a long Masechta, but again, the Kedushas Levi. Why? Because that's what he understood, that's an achila de kedusha, the Torah. When you learn Torah is achila de kedusha. And therefore, the angels, when they wanted to go up on high, when Moshe Rabbeinu went up on high, Kabbalos tsar. Kilaster Panav. Kimay Avraham. What happened? HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it that Moshe Rabbeinu's face should have the same appearance of Avraham Avinu. You hear this? It's amazing, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu helped out Moshe Rabbeinu and helped Klal Yisrael by making Moshe Rabbeinu's face look like Avraham Avinu. So when Moshe Rabbeinu was up on high in Shemayim, and these malachim see, that's Avraham Avinu. Oh no, he's the guy that gave us to eat. He's the guy that gave us to eat. Oh, v'omalahem aloi zeu shachaltem etzloi. K'may shekosu b'medrash. Oh, hainu sh'Hashem yizbarach yeshiv lahem. Eich yesh lachem pitzchen peh lekatrig al Kabbalos Hatorah l'zeh olam. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he said that you're not going to have any pischah and peh to be mekatrig on my children to not get the Torah. V'alo yachaltem etzla yachaltem daika ki bezeh ta'amtem kitzas machetzarech adam lizbol b'zeh olam. They tasted a little bit what we have to endure in this world. And the same way we said that they weren't able to leave the world pure. The Malachim weren't able to leave the world pure. One had to stay till Yaakov. One was able to go. One had to stay till Yaakov. One had to stay till Manoach. They had to understand that that we need the Torah Kadosh. We need the mitzvahs. We need the Torah Kadosh. That's why we have every day. We have the tefillin, right? We wear our tefillin every day. And it says that anyone that wears the tefillin will be protected from sinning, right? If you wear your tefillin, and then you have on your door, you have the mezuzah, right? You have the mezuzah on the door. You wear the tefillin, and what is the tefillin? You have the tefillin shel roish, right? What is the tefillin shel roish? The tefillin shel roish. You have the shin, right? You have the shin. You have the shin on the bias, right? You have the shin with the four stems, the four prongs, the four heads, and then you have the shin with the three, right? And we said from the Marsha that the Marsha says that it's really the same thing because the three fits into the four, right? If you have four, so you can fit three into the four. Three can fit into the four. But what do you have? You have the shin. And then on the what do you call it? On the ritzuas, right? You put it on the head. On the back you have the kesher. That's what it's a dalet, right? That's the dalet, right? And then we have the yud. We have the yud on the yad, right? The little yud on the bias of the yad on the yad. So you have altogether shadkai. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is protecting us. That's our protection. That's what we need every day, and that's why we wear our tefillin, and that's why we say the Kriya Shema, and that's the Torah that we're supposed to eat and we're supposed to enjoy. And then he finishes off here, look at this. Lulei, K'may Shekasav in Tehillim David HaMelech, Lulei Tzairoscha Shashua. Oh, what would be if not for the Torah, the joy, the delight, the cheering of the Torah? Where would we be? Does anyone want to say anything on this? Any comments, any questions, or this? Do you find this fascinating like I did? Huh?
It's fine, yes.
Yeah, okay. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. Shkoyach.